Today, a speedrunner shattered a long-standing record, but not in the way that you think. This is CheckPoint.
Hello and welcome to CheckPoint, where this week we're finally back to your usual two hosts.
That's right. Now, I apologize if I sound a bit strange. I had some dental work done earlier, and an allergic reaction to the anesthetic changed my voice, made my beard fall out, and also turned me into beach. But I have been assured that these effects are all temporary.
They bloody well better be.
Blizzard is taking an innovative approach to discovering if an Overwatch player is toxic, watching YouTube videos of those toxic players. When a player reports unruly behavior, and what a great euphemism that is, Blizzard takes to social media sites to see if they can establish a pattern of toxicity. Is it working? Well, Overwatch lead designer Jeff Kaplan shared that abusive chat in competitive matches is down by 17%, and thanks to a new feature where console players can easily report those potato shits, overall reports are up by 20%. Kaplan also stated that in some cases, their team is catching these dumbasses before reports even come in, which is like emptying the landfill before the garbage even gets dumped. As for the YouTube connection, it's not clear if the videos Blizzard is finding are actually posted by the offenders themselves in kind of a lol, I pranked you sort of way, but I'm going to improve everyone's upcoming week by saying yes they are, and karma's a bitch.
PUBG is changing up how players start the game in an attempt to boost server performance. For those of you who live under a rock and have never seen a game of PUBG, aka the extremely spiteful rifle trifle, before the shooting, vehicular homicide, and frying pan melees start, players all spawn onto a pre-match island stocked with weapons and explosives so they can practice blowing each other up and forming impromptu conga lines. The problem is, according to PUBG Corp, lots of interaction among multiple players in such a small area had a high impact on the servers. So now players still spawn on the island, but there are no weapons and they're much further apart, which either means the game has been improved 100% now that someone isn't trying to light your crotch on fire, or all the charm is gone now that you can't light someone's crotch on fire.
Players of No Man's Sky want to use a different calendar for the game because using the current Gregorian calendar doesn't feel sufficiently sci-fi. King Hova, the leader of No Man's Sky civilization, the Galactic Empire of Hova, is proposing Galactic Standard Time, which maps one real-life day to 4 No Man's Sky days, so that an event that happens in a few days in real life would actually feel like it took a month in No Man's Sky. While this sounds like a huge deal for the developer to implement, the fact is that all of this world building is actually happening outside of the game. Let's be clear, I'm really into the idea of fans expanding the universe as they play the game. But I have a big issue with changing the calendar. King Hova's proposal for Galactic Standard Time continues to use 12 months to a year, which is ludicrous for a spacefaring race with 10 fingers. Sure, they say it's for simplicity's sake because we use 12 months in the Gregorian calendar, but if you want to make things seem more sci-fi, go for broke. Star Trek's star dates were like a good start, but ultimately became a galaxy-wide system based on what Earth century it was and how many seasons of The Next Generation had actually been aired, which stopped making sense after 10 seasons. So get dumb with this, guys. Make it base 7. Redefine metric time based on the number of moons your religion believes in. Or hell, get real nerdy and go binary. Divide up the speed of light into arbitrary units. Count time based on Unix epochs. Just remember, any arbitrary calendar system that I can understand is not sufficiently alien.
A year-long controversy surrounding the Atari 2600 game Dragster has finally been resolved in what is probably the most dramatic way possible. You see, back in 1982, a guy named Todd Rogers, who was famous at the time for racking up world records and high scores in video games, set what was, at least until today, the longest standing video game world record, 5.51 seconds in Dragster. Rogers registered the record with Twin Galaxies, an organization that was founded in 1981 to track high scores and world records. And initially, Twin Galaxies didn't have any issues with the 5:51 time, but over the years, a lot of other people have questioned it, and even questioned if that time is theoretically possible. In 2017, a speedrunner named Eric Omnigamer Koziel decided to get to the bottom of the mystery. So he broke down the game's code and created a tool-assisted speedrun to give him perfect performance in the game and got 5.57 seconds. According to Activision's records from the 1980s, the game has a theoretical optimal time of 5.54 seconds, and now 13 speedrunners have managed to get 5.57 on unassisted runs, but nobody has been able to come close to Roger's 5.51, tool-assisted or not. To boot, many of Roger's other records with Twin Galaxies were starting to be questioned. The numbers were suspicious and some weren't even possible. And recent digging by the likes of YouTuber Apollo Legend revealed that when Rogers was racking up world records in the 1980s, he had friends adjudicate his time or sometimes just entered his own scores, allowing him to conquer the leaderboards with no proof at all. And all of that finally came to a head today, when Twin Galaxies announced that it had stripped Todd Rogers of all his records and banned him from participating in any of their competitive leaderboards. And now people are suspecting that the carnage won't stop at Rogers. There's long simmering suspicion in the speedrunning community that Twin Galaxies' inner circle in the 1980s was actually pretty corrupt, and that they made sure that they would be the high-score world record holders. So don't be surprised if you hear from me later this year, breaking down a huge controversy surrounding Big Bird's egg catch.
I just hope my world speedrun record holds.
You have a world record speedrun?
Yeah, time of 1 minute, 43.67 seconds, and no, that's a sequel. I hold the world record in
I think you made that up.
Look, Twin Galaxies didn't do a lot of due diligence back in the 90s. Just let me have this.
Coming up, Miitomo is shutting down in May. Beige is the only person I've ever met who is still playing Miitomo a month after it was launched. Can I get a comment?
Meh.
Great. I can't believe I got through my whole story with like one minor hiccup.
Yeah.
Did you see me like I wasn't pressing the right place on the prompter because it's only the top half of the screen, and I was like, why isn't it starting?
I kept watching it scroll, and I was like, is it gonna go to, and you ultimately got there.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at like panicking on the inside, but calm face and reading on the outside.
It's like
I can split the processes of my brain.
Your face is like a duck's body.
Sure. Covered in feathers.
Yep. Calm and serene
repellent.
on the surface. Well, the duck's feet of your brain are constantly kicking.